We're going to get into the players, the keys, all of that. But the other obvious, non-gridiron story is ESPN College Game Day. It's been a bit. It's been a while since a USC game's been on Game Day. Lincoln Riley had some very, very strong, notable, eye-opening comments. Ethan, you wrote about that at Trojans Wire. Let's walk everybody through that.
Yeah, so Lincoln Riley basically said, and this is not word for word, so don't quote me on this, but he basically said he doesn't really care that, USC is going to be on College Game Day, and he's not putting any emphasis on that with his players this week. He's not, trying to hype that up to the players or, make that a reason why they need to perform better, because it's the same guys that kind of thought that USC was going to suck, is what he said, and he hasn't forgotten that. I wrote about that at Trojans Wire, and I also wrote about just kind of College Game Day's general disrespect of USC for the last decade or so. Last time USC was on Game Day was 2016 when USC went up to play Washington, and I would say that was definitely more about Washington than it was about USC, because Washington was, on the way to making the college football playoff. USC was a 3-loss team at that point, and the Trojans just happened to take advantage of that opportunity and win that football game. And kind of USC's last complete road win in, for a while, because it's been a while since we've had a win that satisfying on the road. Obviously Sam Darnold and Adoree Jackson leading the Trojans to that one. But and then it's been since 2013 since Game Day was at USC. And again, I think that was more about Stanford than it was about USC, because I think Stanford was more highly ranked at that time. Again, USC pulling that one out. And taking advantage of that opportunity. But, and there's been, honestly, I think, in my opinion, plenty of opportunities for Game Day to visit USC during the Lincoln Riley era, especially in 2022. I mean, it kind of still stings that they didn't come to USC, UCLA, and even that Notre Dame game was an opportunity there. I think that there were even a couple of opportunities sprinkled in 2023 and 24 at the beginning of the season when hype was still high, that Notre Dame game in 2023, the Michigan game in 2024, even the Notre Dame game this year, I think, was a good opportunity that they missed on. So they just haven't really paid attention to Lincoln Riley-led teams too much. And so I think that, not only is it about him remembering this year and, USC coming into the year unranked, a lot of the Game Day hosts picking against USC in their biggest games, including against Nebraska and against Michigan. So, yeah, I mean, the disrespect has definitely been there. Lincoln Riley's not just talking out of his butt. It did happen. It'll be interesting, I think, to see if there's any retaliation or response from the Game Day hosts, because, McAfee and those guys, a lot of them are pretty outspoken, Herb Street. So I'd be interested to see if they kind of fire back at all or, pick against USC or, but it's just more bulletin board material if they do. So, and obviously Lincoln Riley isn't going to be, at least so he says, mentally affected by it, and he's not going to tell the team about it or, focus on that either. So I don't know, get your popcorn ready for Game Day next Saturday morning for sure.
Yeah, Crash, before I let you get your crack at this, just Lincoln Riley saying, hey, these guys are doubting us. So Game Day doesn't care about us. We don't really care about them. Like, do you think that chip on Lincoln Riley's shoulder makes you think about this Oregon game in a slightly different way and as part of the ESPN Game Day storyline?
Well, Matt, you bring that up, and I think Ethan nailed it perfectly on the head when he said it's bulletin board material. And I think what Riley was talking about, obviously he was just talking about just the disrespect kind of from Game Day, but that can be interpreted in just this picture of just this whole season, if you really think about it, Matt, because USC started the season unranked, and there were definitely arguments they should have been ranked. And I think Cody Kessler said it best on the Victory podcast when he's like, you know what? Just who cares? Doesn't matter. You win, the rankings take care of themselves. Use it as fuel. Use it as motivation. And I think that's what Riley's trying to portray here. Just every time USC's been disrespected, been thrown out of the polls, hasn't gotten the Game Day or appearances, or even Big Noon for that matter, Big Noon kickoff appearances for that matter, that they, I think, have warranted over Riley's time since he took over USC. I think it really just shows that, you know what? It's just another time they're disrespecting us. They're finally coming around. Who cares? Let's go show them what we're about. So I really just like that he's kind of just keeping with that theme of just USC's been disrespected this year. and they're about to go prove a bunch of doubters. So I really like the tone that he's taking here this week with what he said in that statement with regards to game